been here 4 times, and one of the main reasons that I like coming back is because I'm able to help people, but not only am I able to help people, I'm able to see some of the changes that take place from the first visit to the next visit, and just see how much each individual has grown. Wow, it's very easy to see. And as I was expressing to another staff member, I walk in the door and straight away, body language, a lot of the way they carry themselves, people are standing taller, happier. I walk in the door and they come running up to greet me. And a couple of these people are people who wouldn't even lift their head when we were here before. You know, they'd come into session, their head would be down, they would talk to us like this. They had no aspirations, they had no hopes. And when I come back and they're like, oh, this has changed, that's changed, I'm doing this now, I'm in services, I've got all these new responsibilities. And they just, it's like talking to a whole new person. So it's beautiful. It makes it worthwhile. Okay, so basically, sometimes when we come, the first thing we do is use a specific protocol for the addiction. And we test the addiction level before we start, and then we go in and we work on the emotional drivers behind the addiction. Then when we're finished, we test it again. When we come back 6 months later, anyone who signed up to have another session, we do exactly the same thing. We test the addiction, they come in here, and it has no charge on it whatsoever. And most of the time they've signed up because they've identified some other emotional issues that they'd like to look at. So it's been fantastic. It's so great to see the difference when the first time you see someone, when we test their addiction and their eyes light up and they get all excited and that's all they can think about, and then you come back and test the addiction and they're just like, no thanks, not interested. I think it's a fantastic idea. I would highly support it. I'd be one of the people putting my hand up to come here and help. The reason that I would do that is because as people are here and they're tapping on a regular basis, it's just going to keep them going steadily on their program. The changes will keep happening because when we come, they get excited, they tap, then after a while they stop tapping and they lose that momentum. So this just keeps the momentum building, builds their self-esteem, builds their self-confidence, and improves their program. And what we're trying to teach people here, the residents and also the staff, that it's not so much the tapping that makes the difference. It's going in, looking at the emotions, taking any of the old emotions, a charge offline, so that then when they have something happen to them, they don't stumble, that there's just no reaction to it. They have that emotional regulation, that emotional maturity, that emotional intelligence to be able to just continue to keep moving through. The reason I decided to write the book is I did the training, I saw the value in the training, I love the process, and I think everyone should have this at their fingertips. So many modalities have so many terminologies that are hard for people to understand, and what I wanted to do was write a book so that people who had never heard of Faster EFT could pick it up, they could read it, and they would have an understanding of what we're doing when we do a session. So that they weren't going in going, what is this weird stuff that we're doing? They actually understand the process. So that was the whole point behind the book. And it does get good reviews. A lot of the practitioners will use to give it to their clients before they have a session so they know what they're going to have when they get to the session. What's intriguing for me about Habilitat is, you know, I've worked in the addiction industry for 12 years prior to coming to Habilitat the first time. And so as a person that used to manage a rehab, I continued to get frustrated with the system that I worked in Australia because I worked under another system. And it wasn't a therapeutic community. What I saw happening is people would come in, we would drive them out, and we would throw them back out. And they kept coming back, and it was this perpetual cycle. And it's very frustrating for someone who really enjoys helping people and likes to see people make progress because no one was making progress. So I heard about therapeutic community, I heard about Habilitat, And I heard that Faster EFT was coming, and I love Faster EFT, so I came along. What I've seen here is that Habilitat's protocol is very similar to what we do in Faster EFT. The belief that there are no broken people, that people are only doing what they know how to do best. And so that matches my view of the world and how we can help people heal. I came and I loved everything about the program. You know, I love the way that people are learning how from the ground up to change their values, their beliefs, their thinking system, which is exactly what we do in Faster EFT. So it's in Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I wanted to come back. But once I came back the second time, it became more about the people. Because for the first time in my career working in drug and alcohol, I saw people making progress. And that just inspired me and wanted to keep coming back. And I feel so strongly about it because now this is my 4th time. So many of the people that we have worked on have made so many changes that they're almost unrecognizable. And that is very gratifying. They need to take money out of it. The whole idea that they're getting government subsidies, because it all becomes about the bottom dollar and it doesn't become about the person. And the fact that they only address the symptoms and they don't actually look at what's going on for the individual. So it's all about the drug and the drug use. It's not about why people picked up the drugs in the first place. And until that changes, it's just going to continue to be the same cycle. That's kind of hard. We have about 3 different models that are used. The model that I worked in, it was simply about using the Minnesota model, which is the 12-step model. So people would come in, they would go through detox, they would have 3 months to be in a safe place. They would then learn about the 12-step program and go to 12-step meetings, and then they would be put back out on the street. We do have therapeutic communities in Australia, but they're not pure therapeutic communities. And what that means is, while they do use community as therapy, it is also based on the government subsidies. And with the government subsidies, they have to adhere to so many guidelines that it can't possibly be a true community. So what I see, and what I have seen, is no one even talks about the drivers behind the addiction. They only talk about the drugs and the drug use and reducing that drug use. Well, I'd like to say that if you know anyone that has ever suffered from addiction, this is the place for them to come and actually learn how to be the person that they want to be. Because everything else out there is geared to a Band-Aid effect. It's not actually working on the core driver. Not only that, it's a 2.5-year program, and when you invest that in your life, you're bound to come out with some fantastic results, where everywhere else, you're either 8 weeks, 12-week program, if you're lucky, 6 months. And in my opinion, after working in the industry, 3 months you're just starting to detox. You're starting to sleep again. You're starting to think clearly again. So 3 months out on the street, you're back into it before you even know it hit you. You haven't gotten any new skills. So Habilitat is the place that you can come and get those skills. So I've written a book, and the name of the book is From Stress to Success with Faster EFT. You can find the book on Amazon.com. You can get it in e-form, or you can get it in print version. I wrote the book so that people can have an understanding of what Faster EFT, what the process is, what's going to happen when they come to a session, so that when they get to a session, they're not freaked out about this weird thing. It also explains how you have problems and how you can address your problems in the book. You can also come to my website, which is Inner Stillness, and it can be found at www.fastereft.net.au. Or if you would like to look for a practitioner, if you'd like to see me as a practitioner, I do Skype sessions, I do in-person sessions in Australia, and you can find me on Robert's website, which is fastereft.com, or also Inner Stillness www.fastereft.net.au.